Powered by Virginia. Radio.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you all for joining me. If you don't know, I am Big Al. I am the proprietor of and the HNIC of Let Me Say Something podcast here on Powered by Virginia Network. By the way, for those of you that want to do a podcast, don't forget to give us a call here at Powered by Virginia, 757-964-9367. Okay, talk to the big man, see what he can do for you. He can do something for you. So if you want a podcast or if you have something that you want photograph, film, give us a call. All righty, let's get started. First of all, some of y'all are back from the holidays, and some of y'all I talked to a lot of people, and some of y'all are depressed, some of y'all are excited. But I just want to say, for those of you that are a little bit slow for the holidays, maybe you didn't have anybody special, maybe you weren't with your family, and for whatever reason, in case, I just want you to understand, okay? It's all good. Remember, God doesn't give you anything that's too big for you to handle. Why? Because He's already equipped you to handle everything that can be thrown at you. Okay, so understand, you are equipped for the long haul, and you can get it done, and you can get through it, and you will. All righty? And listen, so this is what we're going to do. I want to talk to a couple. I was trying to talk to this last week, and last week I couldn't get to my show because I was out of town. I was out of state, actually. I couldn't get back in time. But as you guys already know, there's been some serious goings-on with Kyrie and with Chappelle and with Ye and the Jews. Okay, and they're supposedly they're anti-Semitic. Now I gotta tell you, I mean, you don't want to. No one should be anti-Semitic, but I get it. But what I can tell you is that I'll start with Kyrie. Kyrie, a multi-millionaire, and basically what he was saying was that, hey, there's a pretty good documentary. It's interesting. Y'all should take a look at this, etc. Now, the documentary was about the Jewish people. Now, I haven't seen the documentary. I haven't accessed it, etc. But all he did was just kind of download it and just reference it. I don't remember him doing it. I looked all over YouTube. I didn't see him doing anything else as far as that's concerned. Now, they're saying that this documentary puts Jews in a bad light. I'm not sure what that means. If that is the case, then it's not a good thing. But like Kyrie said, he said, I didn't make the documentary. I just watched it. Okay? Now, folks, we all see a lot of things that aren't true about our own race. The Woman King, for instance. The Woman King was a farce. Now, but we still went to see it. And we still claim it, but we're not. But the three white women that wrote it, we're not saying they're racist. We're saying it's a tribute. It is something that's beautiful and things like that. So now, with Kyrie, I think he's been very articulate as far as deciding. Well, I should say saying his point. I still don't see the anti-Semitism in it because he just referred it. So that's not really on him. That's on a documentary. But Amazon is still Jeff Bezos is still pushing the movie. At least he was. I'm not sure if he still is. At least he was. I want to say 4 days ago. Haven't checked today. He was still pushing it. No one's commented on Jeff Bezos and Amazon about doing that. Why are you distributing this movie? Why are you distributing something that's anti-Semitic? Are you anti-Semitic? Which I don't think he is, but I think Jeff Bezos is Jewish. But why isn't anyone pushing back on Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon? Okay, the man worth $4 billion, something like that. And no one's pushing back on this guy. Now with Kyrie, he got a fine of $500,000. Also, he was suspended for a period of time. On top of that, he has to go and meet rabbis and go through a certain training, a lengthy training to understand the Jewish community, so he won't be anti-Semitic. I don't get it. How do you take $500,000 from a man that didn't do anything? How do you do that? What makes that right? And why $500,000? Why not $100,000? You know, why not invite? Why didn't the Jewish community invite him to come and worship with them? Why didn't they invite him to come eat with them? Why did he? Because this guy knows a number of Jewish people, I'm sure. At the level that he is, I'm sure he does. But no one invited him to do that. But they went to hurt this man, to cripple this man, to embarrass this man. And I'll give Mr. Kyrie Irving credit. This guy stuck to his guns. And he did exactly, and I got to respect this guy. I love him. Kyrie, love you, brother. Then we got Dave Chappelle, who was doing Saturday night. I didn't see it. I had to go play it back. And I didn't see anything else anti-Semitic. You know, and what he said was basically, I learned not to say, put two words together. The Jews. He said, when you put those two words together, nothing good happens. And then, of course, he went on to do his monologue of making fun of it, that type of thing. That was anti-Semitic. How can that be? He's a comedian. He's a comedian. People, get over yourself. The man's a comedian. It's his job to do that. And everybody was laughing. I'm just not understanding it. I'm just not understanding that. You know, and Dave Chappelle is a very, very smart guy. And he's probably at the top of his game right now as far as the funniest comedian that's out there. Black, white, red, doesn't matter. And then we have Ye. Wow. That brother. Ye is gotta be, forget about the fact that you think that Ye is on drugs and so forth, and his wife divorced him and ended up going out with some scrub, Pete Davidson or somebody, some dude from SNL, you know, forget all that. It's amazing to me that Kanye is the crazy one, but Kim was the one that did the porn video that her mother approved and sent out there to the world. Mom approved the video. Ray J said so on more than one occasion. He said, yeah. He said, and I get this. He said, Kim and I made two porn videos. The mother said, let's use this one because you can see more of Kim's face. And that got Kim started. No one says anything about that. No one is bringing that up. No one is saying that Kim is crazy or a hoe or whatever. Because she's been through a whole lot of brothers, man, to get to where she is. But Ye said, I don't understand the problem with Ye. Just recently, though, he was on some talk show, some podcast, and what he said was Hitler had some good qualities. Oh, he's anti-Semitic. I can't believe he's praising Hitler. Now, he didn't. I don't think he praised it. He said, there's no such thing as all good or all evil. There's no such thing as all good or all evil. Is Hitler my kind of guy? No. However, he was a charismatic man. This guy united a country to the point they were so fired up, they thought they could conquer Europe. And they almost did it. If they didn't try to fight Russia on their western front, on their eastern front, they would have won. they would have conquered Europe. That's what the Allies, the U.S. and they would have conquered Europe. They made one mistake, which was bringing Russia into the war, because Russia did not want to get into the war, and Russia was not up to the war, but they just had so many men, they just kept waves and waves of soldiers, and that was their downfall. Now, if you look at our history, we defeated Hitler, but we didn't. Hitler made a mistake, and his men made a mistake. Okay, is Hitler a great man? He's a murderer. Once again, he's not my kind of a guy, but I can kind of see where Ye is going with this. A charismatic man, uniting an entire country, having him fight for whatever the Germans are at the time thought was proper, which was the German way, and so forth. And quite honestly, the United States has done the same thing. We've imposed our will on other countries. You will be democratic. We've imposed our will on other countries, but we do it in the name of unity, in the name of patriotism, which is the same thing that the Germans did. Once again, war is wrong, but Ye was not wrong by what he said, and I don't see it being anti-Semitic to say something positive or negative about a certain person. Then Ye went to the White House and brought this guy, some guy named Fuentes, I think. I don't know much about this guy. I haven't researched him. My understanding is he says that the Holocaust never happened. And if it did, it wasn't as bad as people think. I don't know. And then I think Trump said, "Hey, listen, this guy is I don't even really know this guy. I invited Ye. Ye brought this guy. I don't really know this guy." And they wanted him to be denounced. But I don't want to get into Trump. But Ye is being penalized terribly. Lost his wife. He lost $2 billion, $500 million for 4 years. On top of that, this guy has to pay Kim Kardashian $200,000 a month in child support. Where she can handle all this. She doesn't really need it. She can handle this herself. So my question is, and getting to the reason why I'm sitting here, why are our black male millionaires being accosted, being emaciated? Why are we stopping them from seeing what's on their minds? And why is the Jewish community reacting so quickly to this? And that's the part that we need to talk about. The Jewish community is a very powerful community. Ye proved that. So far there's nothing that Ye has said that I can prove actually wrong. And there's nothing that Ye has said. Excuse me. There's nothing that Ye has. That's water. There's nothing that Ye has said. Yeah, that'll work. There's nothing that Ye has actually said that can be that can be misconstrued. He says what's on his mind. I don't think he intends on being anti-Semitic. I know what got it started was he was about to sign a contract with Adidas. And Adidas is based in Germany. And he said, I can say something anti-Semitic. And he said, and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Thank you. And he was right. At least so he thought. And they said, as a matter of fact, he had been right, because they had said, we're going to think about this and we're going to do some research on it. So what's happening? So it seems to me that what's happening is that we're our black males that are millionaires, and these aren't old guys. These are younger guys. Kyrie's in his 30s. Ye is, I think, in his 30s. I'm not sure about David Chappelle. I think he's in his 40s. But these are young guys that are multi-millionaires. But with the money that they're getting, I think that the industry wants them to be pretty much puppets that on a string. They want to use them their way. They don't want them thinking independently. They don't want them doing their own thing. They don't want, no. It's when Ye showed the, I think what did he call that? The red wave, the red. I can't remember what he called it, the red something. I'm sorry, folks. It's been a rough week for me, so I'm kind of. So some things are escaping me right now, but he showed that out of all the executives in Hollywood, major executives making major money, making major decisions about movies and theaters and everything else that has to do with a person's career and their money, 90% were Jewish. How does that happen? How does that happen? I'll tell you how it happens. It happens because they reach out to each other. They do what black people don't do. They help each other. They pull each other up. I mean, think about it. Think about it. One of the things that Ye said was that, he said, listen, I'm about to sign, I'm presented a contract for $500,000 per year for 4 years, which is $2 billion just for my name. There's someone, the person that can say yes or no to this makes maybe $250,000. Now, do you really think that person wants Ye to have that kind of money? Their salary maybe is like $250,000, and they may get points and things like that, and other incentives, but the salary is around $250,000, which is pretty good for most of us. It's pretty good. However, that person, I kind of feel that person feels like, and people in that position feel like, hey, you owe me. When you're giving a contract to someone that's going to make $2 billion, there's nothing you can tell them. You don't own them. You can't control them. Why I signed a contract? I'm making $2 billion, whether you like it or not. And then he turned around and said, you know something, Ye, we're going to take your name off the product. We're still going to use your product though, but we're going to take your name off of that. And Ye said, I don't know about that. So Ye started his own thing, and I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen. Ye is going to end up doing his own thing, shoe company, clothing line, and he's going to be once again one of the richest men in America, if not the world. It'll take him probably 3 years. Remember, you heard it here first, so let me say something with Big Al. He's going to do that. And then what he's going to be reaching back and helping other brothers and sisters that want to move up. Now we do that. A lot of us do that on a smaller scale here. I got my boy Loud that's reaching out to me and helping each other and so forth. He's reaching out to other people and so forth, and to the younger kids. Something I'm trying. I want to do myself, and I'm going to do myself. I'm sorry. So we do this on a smaller scale, but we don't do enough of it. And with Ye and with Ye, with Kyrie, with Dave Chappelle, those are just the ones that we know about. What about the guys that we don't know about? Guys getting fired in corporate America and that type of thing for all kinds of foolishness. And then those same Jewish people, they hire another Jewish person to replace them. See, the one thing that we don't do as black people, and the Jewish people do this magnificently, we do not control our own narrative. We really don't. We don't control our own narrative. We let the media choose our heroes, our leaders, our spokesmen. We let the media do that. The media's not going to choose someone that has an actual opinion. They'll choose like an Al Sharpton or somebody. They'll choose someone that wants to be on camera. They'll choose someone that'll do whatever to make money, say whatever to make money. But if you have an opinion and you can actually prove it, verify it, support it, you're not going to get a microphone in your mouth. They're pointing at you. They're not putting a microphone at you. They're not. Black people, we need to prove our own narrative in every aspect of what we do. Every aspect. We do not do that. The Woman King, written by 3 white women. You wanted to be like a Dances with Wolves, only in Africa. And all in that movie was simply about the slave trade. Now, slave trading existed. I don't have a problem with that. It existed. But as far as the women warriors are concerned, they got mopped at every turn. They got mopped at every fighting the French. Because the French were the ones that first went down there and started taking slaves. And the reason why they got slaves was because the French were taking everybody. They didn't give a goddamn. They were taking everybody. And they said, well, wait. Whoa. We will bring you people. Just don't take our people. They said, okay, we'll give you a shot. And they went and found the weaker tribes, and that's how everything got started. But I digress. Why don't we control our own narrative? Tell me. Why don't we control our own narrative? Why aren't you helping someone? Why aren't you right there, you. Why aren't you reaching back and helping another black person? Reason is because we destroy each other. We really do. We destroy each other. We somebody starts raising up that we know, we try to pull them back down. It's like crabs in a barrel, crabs in a bucket rather. None of the crabs can get out, all the crabs are grabbing them. So nobody gets out. Now, is that the way we were raised? Yes and no. It's been a process for a very long time. Once again, we don't pick our own heroes. We don't pick our own spokespeople. We don't pick our own leaders. If someone's too controversial, then all of a sudden the media comes and, well, he said this, he said that. Oh my goodness. And I know a lot of you think that we're in a better time than we've ever been before. Part of that is true, but this is a time right now, since we're so prosperous, that we need a leader that will not back down. We need a leader that will stand up. We need someone from the black community that will represent the black community. Going back to Ye, he's actually going to run for president again. Now, will he win? Nah, he won't win. Okay, so I watch him run for president. He's running for president because what he plans on doing, and this time I'm pretty sure he's serious about it, is that he plans on bringing black and brown people to the Republican Party, and give the Republican Party an awareness that, hey, people want to hear what you have to say. We're not all Democratic. We're not all Democratic, and so he's gonna make that push. And like I said, it won't be much of one, but he'll be significant enough so that the younger people will listen. And once they listen on the board, and once the rumble starts, then he'll kind of back off. He'll drop off the national scene. And that's my opinion. And but he's going to run for president in 2024. And I think he's going to start campaigning sometime next year. He's going to start campaigning. So they said, but he hasn't filled out the paperwork, because I think the last time he didn't fill out the paperwork on time or something like that. Which is hard to believe that he didn't do that with all the lawyers that he has around him. But the narrative, we have never controlled our own narrative for years and years and years. We have not controlled it. We did at one time. Before the 60s, We didn't. You never saw a black man or a black woman dressed badly in a magazine. You know, uh, where we would go out, we'd be dressed nice and so forth. We pushed education. We pushed hard work. We pushed the family values. We were controlling our own destiny. We were controlling our own narrative. But we've gotten away from that. And now it's the struggle. Now it's the struggle. And everybody's trying to get in where they fit in. Instead of we can learn a lot from the Jews. We really can. Years ago I worked for a gentleman, for a Jewish man. I was an executive recruiter, and and one thing that he said when he invited me to his house one time, I saw all these Jewish people there. I was the only black person, and this was years and years ago. So it was a bit intimidating in the beginning. But the one thing he told me was, he says these are people that can help me get to the next level. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, well, they may not help you, but they'll help me. I said, okay, boss. I said, well, he said, I said, why am I here? He said, because I like the way you carry yourself. I like the way you talk. I wasn't sure if that was good or bad. I was young, hungry. But the narrative has gotten away from us. It really has. And we got to get that back. We have to get back to the narrative of supporting each other. We have to take control of our history. We don't really make our own movies concerning history. Why is someone else making a movie about the woman king? Why is someone not making? Why are they making movies about? Why are we not? Now that we have a few blacks that are directors, we have blacks that are now own studios, owns TV stations. Why are we not getting more of that? And why does everything that we do put on have to be a joke comedy, making people laugh? Listen, the Jewish community, I have nothing against any of you, any of them. And what we need to learn from them is unity. We need to go ahead and we need to stop trying to trip over each other or pushing each other out the way. We need to start reaching back and forming a link, just reaching back and grabbing hands and holding each other and pulling them forward. And like I said, I see us doing this on a smaller scale. And I give you a example. We have some what is his name? Aaron Donald. I think that's his name. The football player. He has schools. He has I think 5 schools around the country that teach financial literacy to children, which is something I want to do. Something I'm going to do, and that is fantastic. But no one knows about these schools. No one knows about these schools. This is a football player, and he said, hey, his mother taught him, so he's teaching others. And we have to reach back and do that. We cannot sit back and let someone else talk our narrative or write our narrative. We can't do that. And we've been doing that for a long time. Why? Because we gotten satisfied. Why? Because we're making money now. Why? Because, hey, the world is our oyster, and we don't know how to eat oysters. Getting back to Ye and Kyrie and Dave Chappelle. Why are they punishing these men so hard? Dave Chappelle was. They said he was a Dave Chappelle. They said that he was against gays or something like that. He was homophobic is the word they used. I was like, Dave Chappelle? He's in entertainment. He's around he's around gay people all the time. People attacking him on stage and whatnot. They don't want to make jokes about being about gays. Unbelievable. Kanye. They're trying to shut him up and shut him down when they won't be able to do it. They will not be able to do it. This is a man that is going to speak his mind and keep on speaking his mind. Someone I'm proud of. Kyrie Irving, the same thing. He's going to keep speaking his mind. I don't even understand how they can justify a fine of $500,000. Oh wait, they can do that because the guy in charge of the NBA is a Jewish man. Yep. The guy in charge of the NBA is a Jewish man. I can't, for the life of me, think of his name. But he's a Jewish man. You know, I don't even understand how it's fair to impose that kind of a fine on him. But yet and still, black people, we, speaking of the narrative, you know what our narrative is? If you listen to our music, we beat our women. We have sex with them, but no love. We don't give a damn about nothing but our money. That's our narrative. It's okay to rob somebody to get what you want because, you know, that's just the way the streets are. Blah, blah, blah. That's our narrative. Now, it's not truly our narrative because there are fewer of them than there are regular folks, but that's what you hear all the time. That's what you hear all the time. It's predominant in entertainment. Period. It's a predominant message. And we just keep letting it go. You know, there's no protest. There's no I'm offended that you will call a black woman a bitch or this, that, and the other. We're offended. There's nothing. You know, black women are twerking to those same songs. We don't control our own narrative. We just don't do it. The men that speak up the men that speak up, they have prominence. The ones that have the money, the ones that we see every day, those are the men that are getting punished for that. For speaking up and saying their minds, for saying they're just being men. Is it any different than the slavers? A little bit different, but not too much. You said something that the slave owner didn't like, he would punish you. In this case, you just don't use a whip. They use something that hurts far, far more. Money. And future money. Because Kyrie will never get that $2 billion back from Adidas. Although he will probably get the $2 billion at some point, but not with Adidas. I really am just flabbergasted that we don't have more outrage in the black community about how those men are being treated. Because if they can treat those men that way, they can treat you and me that way. And just keep punishing you. They can just keep doing it. And we don't say anything. Nothing. That's those. That's them, man. Shoot, I'm not gonna shoot. You know. You know. When one suffers, we all suffer. You got to get back to that too. But listen, so I got to say, I'm proud of those guys. Ye, Kyrie, Dave Chappelle. Okay. I'm glad they spoke up, though. I'm glad they spoke up. And what I want you to do is to speak up. I want you to take the time to speak, to take the time. Take the time to reach out. If you're in a position where you can reach back and pull somebody up, do it. Reach back and pull another black person up if you can do it. Honestly. We got away from that. We got to get back to it. And like I said before, I'm going to close out on this segment, and we're going to talk about one more segment here. So, again, the point that I'm making is freedom. Your freedom is not and never has been free. Your freedom is not free. Go and help your brothers and sisters. Stand your ground. And just keep swinging. Because this whole world out here, man, it's trying to, they're dumping on us like crazy. And we have to fight back like crazy. It doesn't have to be of money, it can be of integrity. But we have to fight back. Because no one cares about us. Very, very quickly, and I'm closed on this particular subject. You know, I said in one of my shows, but I'll say it again. I don't know if you guys saw the show with, what's his name, Charlemagne the God, where they had that executive, that old guy. They had a white guy on the show. That he's an executive of a record company, and he has a pretty big name, pretty big black names on the company. And they asked him, well, you know, they said, if those words are a problem, you know, calling someone a nigga and this, that, and the other, and a bitch, etc. You know, they said, well, why don't you just stop it? Tell them not to do that. And the guy's got kind of hemmed and hawed. He said, well, you must not have been listening. I've already answered that question before. Then he stopped. He said, well, I got to feed my family. Why can he say that? Because nobody gives a darn about the black family, particularly if we don't give a darn about our own black family. And I'm not just talking about your family. I'm talking about caring about his family, her family, your neighbor's family. We were there 50 years ago, but we're not there now. We were there 50 years ago. We were not there now. You know, I can still remember going out and you did something around the corner. Miss So-and-so saw you. Miss So-and-so be on the phone talking to your mama or your father. By the time you get home, so Alton, what happened? About what? And that's when I knew Miss So-and-so called. She's the only one that could have seen me. We don't do that anymore, okay? It takes a village, but we're not a village anymore. We're not a cohesive one. We can get back there, and we will. And we will. All right, y'all, listen, freedom is not free. I got one more thing I want to talk to y'all about, man. I got a hero here. And this guy I didn't know about. My brother told me about this, what was his name? T Majestic? Was that him? T Majesty, yeah, T Majesty. Told me about this brother, and I did not know anything about him, so I researched him, man, and I've been trying to get him on, talk about him on the show. I just haven't been able to do it because, you know, things kind of get away from me. But Noble Drew Ali, born, they think, January 8th, 1886, died definitely July 20th, 1929. This is a man that he died at 43, in 43 years. This is a man that really did his thing. Now imagine, he founded the Moorish, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and is considered a prophet by his followers. He's considered a prophet. Alrighty. In 1913, he founded the Cainite Temple. Cainite Temple. He founded the Canaanite Temple. All right, in Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey, before relocating to Chicago. Now, this brother gained thousands of converts. The last count he had like, I think, anywhere from 35 to 40,000 people that followed him. Not just black people. He didn't roll like that. He didn't roll like that because to him, you were just a person. To Noble Drew Ali, you were a person. He wanted you to shed all that stuff about black and white and all that. Shed all that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine not being identified by your race in America? He did not accept that. And that's what he preached. He preached that we are people. We're humans. And all humans have the right to live free as they wish. Now, the ironic thing about this whole thing was that Noble Drew Ali, he was preaching peace and prosperity. Totally nonviolent. This is long before Dr. King. Long before the NAACP, long before the urban, long before all that stuff. This guy was preaching nonviolence. And remember, he died in 1929. They were hanging black people from trees. They were burning black towns. They just raping black women when they felt like it. They were just doing whatever, the whites were doing whatever they wanted. And the police were following this guy's every move. A nonviolent man. They were following his every move. It was astonishing to me, And once again, I still don't know why I never heard of this guy. I still don't know why I never heard of this guy, But I'm glad I got tipped to him. This guy, and at some point he was accused of murder, and he was never charged with murder. He was arrested, but never charged with murder, even when the murder occurred when he was out of town, and he could prove where he was. He had witnesses that said, "Hey, no, he was here. He couldn't have done that because he was here." They arrested him anyway. Because the guy that was murdered was someone that was close to him. They arrested this guy. They arrested him anyway. He went to jail and never got out of jail because he was, let's just say I don't want to say he was murdered, but the man didn't have to go to jail. But he did. They arrested him. I mean, this is a guy. I mean, he started humble beginnings. This is a guy. There's not a whole lot written about him. Couldn't find a whole lot about him. To be perfectly honest with you, But his mother was part of. They think his mother was part of a Cherokee tribe. She was a full-blooded Washita Tunica Indian mother. There's a couple of versions of his life. This is a guy, and by the way, this is a guy that was not acknowledged until just recently that he was the one that started the current Muslim faction in the United States. He was the one that actually started because they branched off and that's where they ended up. But he never got any. They wanted to give all the credit to Elijah Muhammad. But Elijah Muhammad didn't start it like Elijah said. It was started by Noble Drew Ali. In other words, even after he passed away, they never stopped. They never stopped. Imagine a black man having 35,000, 36, 40,000 people listening to his every word. They say he was a humble man. I mean, it's just, this is, they say he was a humble man. This guy, he did a few things. He went to the Middle East. He was reportedly a circus musician. There's a lot of things they say about a merchant seaman, and they said he traveled to Egypt. He never received a formal education. That much I can tell you. He never received a formal education, but at some point he came to contact with Eastern philosophy, and that changed him. The Eastern philosophy changed him. For those of you that don't know, we are Western philosophy. When you go to places like India, China, etc., that's Eastern philosophy. And once he started doing that, it changed his whole perspective. They say he was in England, in Egypt, excuse me, when this happened. He met a high priestess that knew magic. Stay with me. Knew magic, and their leader, the leader, saw him as a reincarnation of their founder. The leader saw him as a reincarnation of their founder. Now, keep in mind that he's in Egypt. He's in Egypt. And they considered him now when I say they considered him a reincarnation of Jesus. That they considered him a reincarnation of Jesus. The Buddha, Muhammad, and other religious prophets. They felt that he incorporated all of them. They felt he incorporated all of them. They saw something in this man, that cannot be denied. He was trained in mysticism, and they gave him a lost section of the Quran. That's got to be cool as all get up. They give this man a lost section of the Quran, a section that no one else has. No one else has this, but they give it to Noble Drew Ali, because they felt that this man was the reincarnation of Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever you want to call him. They felt that he was the reincarnation of the founder. And now I'm just impressed. So just forgive me here. It's the text became known as the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Not to be confused with Islamic Quran. Okay, it was also known as a Circle 7 Quran, because of its cover, which features the red 7 surrounded by a blue circle. Now, the first 19 chapters are from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus to Christ, published in 1908, and let's see, by Ohio preacher Levi Downing, and the Aquarian Gospel described Jesus' supposed travels to India, Egypt, and Palestine during the years of his life, which are not accounted for in the New Testament. That's some powerful stuff. That's some power. Imagine that you're traveling in Europe, and and someone says you're the second coming of Christ, of Buddha, of Muhammad. You're all of them in one, packed into one. And then you start to do research. You start to study mysticism. You start to study those things, and you realize, what? All my life, I've been taught wrong. All my life, I've been taught. I thought, I thought there was black, there was white, nope, there's not. There is simply humanity. Y'all gotta forgive me because I get excited reading this, man. I brought this with me because I want to make sure that I don't forget too much of anything here, because this is absolutely fascinating. And keep in mind now, Drew Ali wrote the last 4 chapters of the Circle 7 Quran himself. The last 4 he wrote himself. That's the Circle 7 Quran. And let's see what he says here. The fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. To know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Quran of Mecca for teaching and instructing all Moorish Americans, etc. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. This brother, without an education, wrote the last 4 chapters of the Circle of 7 Quran, which his people followed. And he used this material to claim that Jesus and his followers were Asiatic. Okay, now keep in mind, Asiatic back then was a term for all dark and olive-colored people. He labeled whites as European. So Asiatic didn't include whites. All it included people of color. And what he said was, now although he labeled whites who became a part of the uh, as part as he labeled as part of Persians or Celts or Celts, CLTS, he suggested that all Asiatic should be allied, all should be together. He believed that, remember, African Americans were all Moors who he claimed were descendants from ancient Moabites, describing them as belonging to Northwest Africa as opposed to Moab, as the name suggested. He claimed that Islam and its teachings are more beneficial to their earthly salvation and to their true nature, and have been withheld from them. That's pretty much true. I didn't have a choice to be Christian or a Muslim. I didn't have any choice at all. And male members of the temple, they wore turbans. The men wore turbans, and uh, this is just fascinating stuff, guys. Once again, his name is Drew Noble Drew Ali. It is. This is just a person I'm so impressed with, man. I can study this guy for days, and what he did was he urged the Moorish Americans, that's us black people, to become better citizens. He made speeches like a divine warning by the prophet for the nations, in which he urged them to reject derogatory labels such as black, colored, and Negro. He urged Americans of all races to reject hate and embrace love. He believed that Chicago would become the second Mecca. And it probably could have been if he had lived. But keep in mind how he's in the 1920s, and so he's advocating all this in the 1920s. There's no color. Get rid of hate. Supplant hate with love. Supplant your color with humanity. We're all brothers. He had a Canaanite temple in Europe. A Canaanite temple in Newark in 1913. His followers migrated while they were planning congregation in Philadelphia, Washington D.C., and Detroit. And he finally settled in Chicago. But once again, he had places in Detroit, in Philadelphia, Washington D.C., and finally Chicago. So it was expanding. They said that he had 35,000 members in 17 temples across the Midwest and the Upper South. I'm not sure what the Upper South is. He was invited to attend the 1929 inauguration of Illinois Governor Lewis Lincoln Emerson. Chicago Defender stated that his trip included interviews with many distinguished citizens of Chicago, and who greeted him on every hand. And the growth of its population and membership, Chicago was established as the center of the Moorish science movement. Let's see. In early 1929, following the conflict over funds, Claude Green Bay, business manager of Chicago Temple No. 1, split from the Moorish Science Temple of America. He declared himself Grand Sheik and took a number of members with him. On March 15th, Green Bay was stabbed to death at the Unity Hall of the Moorish Science Temple on Indiana Avenue in Chicago. Now, Drew Ali was out of town at the time. He was dealing with former Supreme Grand Governor Lomax Bey, who had supported Green Bay's attempted coup. When Drew Ali returned to Chicago, the police arrested him and other members of the community on suspicion of having instigated the killing. No indictment was sworn for Drew Ali at the time. So in other words, they had no proof. They had no proof. They had no real reason. He did take a sect from them. He did take members, etc. But the man wasn't in town to do any of that stuff. But Noble Drew Ali was not in town to do what they said, to kill this man. And but he was arrested anyway. Now, this is where it gets fuzzy. They say that he was arrested, no charges were pressed, and he was released. That part is kind of true, sort of true. but there's a couple of variations of it. One part says that when he was arrested, that he was fine. He got arrested, he was fine, and then all of a sudden he was dead. Now, one story says that the police officers beat him to within an inch of his life and then sent him on his way. The report the main report that comes out in the newspaper is that, he died of tuberculosis. Okay, you decide what you want to decide. But folks, Noble Drew Ali is a hero. If you love Dr. Martin Luther King and some of the other heroes that we have, you need to add this gentleman to your list. Noble Drew Ali. A fascinating man, a thoughtful man, a peaceful man, and did not deserve to go the way he did. He left us far too soon. He was only 43 and about to do great, great things. And folks, that's going to be my show. And listen, thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I am your boy, Big Al. And like I said before, God's not going to give you more than what you can handle. And you can already handle it because he's already given it to you. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Virginia Radio.